Hello there and welcome. Bob Proctor again. You know, in the last Fireside Chat, I talked about this little book, Science of Getting Rich. Talked about the laws and the impression of increase, about leaving everyone with the impression of increase. Do you know, when you really stop and think, if you look at all of nature, everything operates so perfectly. The leaves fall off the tree, the spring they come back on the tree. Some animals hibernate, some don't. You sit and look at a rose, you could stare at it. It would completely unfold right before your eyes, and you'd never see a petal move. I've often thought a rose is one of the most beautiful expressions of life. But all of nature, we see perfection. Well, there must be perfection in us. Now, the difference between you and I and all the other little creatures on the planet, they are all quite at home in their environment. You and I are totally disoriented in our environment. And that's because we have the godlike ability to create our own environment. Now, when I say godlike, I don't mean that you're God, but we've been created in God's image. We've been given creative faculties. And there are certain laws, and as we study these laws and work with them, everything in our life starts to change. Now, there's a chapter in here that if you just studied this one word every day for a little while, for a month, I guarantee you your life would shift. The word is gratitude. Now, let me read you the first page. The illustrations given in the last chapter will have conveyed to the reader the fact that the first step toward getting rich is to convey the idea of your wants to spirit, to formless substance. Now, he said this is true, and you will see that in order to do so, it becomes necessary to relate yourself to this formless substance in a harmonious way. Now, he's referring to spirit as formless substance. To secure this harmonious relationship is a matter of such primary and vital importance that I shall give you some space to its discussion here and give you instructions which, if you will follow them, will be certain to bring you and your into perfect unity with the mind of God. Now, listen to this very carefully. This is a line, if you will memorize this and then repeat it to yourself every time something goes a little haywire. Let's say we have a financial problem or a personal problem, a relationship problem. Memorize this next statement. The whole process of mental adjustment and attunement can be summed up in one word. That word is gratitude. Now, let me say this again. The whole process of mental adjustment and attunement can be summed up in one word, and that word is gratitude. Now, mental adjustment. If we have challenges in our life that are dominating our thinking, a shortage of money, a business problem, a relationship problem, we will have a tendency to focus on the problem. And by doing that, that adds energy to the problem and the problem grows. Now, he's saying don't do that. Get involved in a process of mental adjustment. See what you want. Don't spend any time looking at what you don't want. See what you do want. So he said the whole process of mental adjustment and attunement. Now, the attunement is getting in harmony with the law. I mentioned in the second chapter here, he goes into the laws of the universe. All universe operates by law. So you get in tune with the law. Now think of it. The whole process of mental adjustment and attunement can be summed up in one word, and that word is gratitude. Now, how could we put that to action? Well, let's think of it this way. When you seem to be overwhelmed with problems, they just don't seem to go away. In fact, they seem to be piling up. Just stop whatever you're doing. Block all that stuff out and stop and think. of everything you've got to be grateful for. That's a pretty big order. But if you will stop and think of all the things you've got to be grateful for, like that, everything will start to shift. The whole process of mental adjustment and attunement can be summed up in one word: gratitude. You see, when we are having problems, we tend to focus on the problem and it's poor me. We may even think of ourselves as a victim. But when you stop and think, gratitude, be grateful, and think of all you've got to be grateful for, like that, your energy shifts. Your attitude changes. The whole world will change. It's like Wayne Dyer said, when you change the way you look at something, whatever it is you're looking at changes. And that's true. So if you've got problems, you change the way you look at them, they change. Memorize it. Ask me anytime, and I'll tell you, because I memorized it years ago. The entire process of mental adjustment, get your mind in order. Don't let it be in a chaotic state. Mental adjustment and attunement in harmony with the law can be summed up in one word: gratitude. That is one of the most beautiful words, and it's one of the most misunderstood words in any language. You see, gratitude hooks you up with your source of supply. It puts you in harmony with your source of supply. There is only one source of supply, by the way. You think about this for a while. I've been thinking about it for many, many years, since 1968 when I first read it, and I've never stopped reading it. The entire process of mental adjustment and attunement can be summed up in one word: gratitude. I don't care if it's a relationship, if it's a money, if it's a business problem. Get rid of it by thinking of how grateful you are for what you've got. You're going to feel better. This is Bob Proctor. Thank you.